Have you ever felt like you're shouting into the void? Like no matter how loud you speak, no one really hears you? Like you're reaching out for care, for connection, but all you get back is silence or indifference? That aching feeling, that emptiness when you realize the world keeps spinning without pausing for your pain, your dreams, your struggles. It's one of the loneliest places a human heart can find itself. We all want to matter. We want someone to see us, to care deeply, to say you are not alone. But what if the truth is harsher than that? What if no one really cares? Not in the way you hope, not as deeply as you need. It's a bitter pill, but one worth swallowing. Because once you accept this, everything changes. It's not about giving up or becoming cold. It's about waking up for years, maybe even decades. You've been trapped in a silent prison, built by the expectation that people will care enough to save you, to fix you, to validate you. You wait for a call, a message, a sign that someone else sees your worth. But often, it doesn't come. The world is busy. People are caught up in their own storms. Their silence is not always cruelty, it's just reality. This realization shakes something deep inside you, threatening to crush your spirit. But here's the secret. The moment you stop waiting for others to carry you, you begin to carry yourself. And in doing so, you find a kind of freedom you never imagined. When you accept that no one cares, not because they're cruel, but because everyone is fighting their own battles, you break free from the chains of disappointment and loneliness. It's like stepping out of a dark cave into the blinding light. Suddenly, you're no longer a passenger in your own life, waiting for someone else to steer. You become the driver. You learn that your value isn't tied to someone else's attention or approval. It lives inside you, untouchable by others' neglect or neglectful hearts. This truth can feel terrifying. It strips away illusions, leaving you naked with yourself. But it's in this nakedness, this raw and honest moment, where your real power lies. When you stop looking outward for rescue, you begin to build your own rescue plan. You stop begging for permission to be happy, successful, or worthy. Instead, you give yourself that permission. You find the strength to say, I am enough, even if no one else says it. And here's why you have to stay with this thought. The reward is unlike anything you've ever experienced. When you accept that no one cares in the way you want, you unlock a deep well of self-respect, courage, and independence. You stop living by other people's rules and start living by your own. You find a peace that no external approval can give you. The anger, the sadness, the endless seeking start to fade. In their place grows something far more powerful, unshakable confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you don't need anyone else to validate your worth. You are the creator of your own meaning, the keeper of your own flame. So lean into this uncomfortable truth, feel the sting of it fully, because it is the first step toward breaking free. When you accept that no one cares the way you want, you open the door to a life where you care enough for yourself to rise, to heal, and to become unstoppable. And that journey, that transformation, it begins right here, right now. There is a kind of power that comes from facing reality exactly as it is, without filters, without excuses, without wishing it were different. This is called radical acceptance. It's not giving up or surrendering to defeat. It's looking at the world, at yourself, and saying, this is what is true. When you stop fighting the fact that no one cares in the way you want, you stop draining your energy on pain that can't be fixed by others. Instead, you redirect that energy into something far more powerful, your own life. Radical acceptance frees you from the exhausting cycle of hoping and hurting, waiting for someone else to show up and fill the void. It's the moment when you stop battling reality and start working with it. This means no longer wasting your precious time trying to convince people to care about you. No more trying to prove your worth to those who never noticed in the first place. It's a brutal kind of honesty, but it's also the clearest path to peace. Most people resist this truth because it feels like loneliness or abandonment. But acceptance doesn't mean you're alone in the way you think. It means you are no longer dependent on others for your emotional survival. This shift rewires your brain. Psychological research shows that acceptance lowers stress, reduces anxiety, and increases emotional resilience. When you stop resisting what is, your mind stops spinning in circles of why me, and if only. You create space to breathe, to think clearly, and to rebuild. Imagine the relief of no longer being at the mercy of others' moods, opinions, or indifference. When you accept that people won't always care, that life doesn't owe you attention or fairness, you stop being a victim. You take back control. This control isn't about force or harshness. It's about gentleness with yourself and strength in your boundaries. You learn to protect your energy fiercely. You stop giving it away to those who don't value it. There's something deeply empowering in saying, I accept that this is my truth, and from here, I will move forward. This acceptance is the foundation for courage. The courage to stop waiting, the courage to stop pleading for care, the courage to stand on your own feet. When you accept that no one else is coming to save you, you become your own hero. This is where transformation begins. You might feel fear, sadness, or even anger as you step into this acceptance. That's natural. These feelings are proof you're breaking free from illusions. Don't shy away from them. Lean in. Feel them fully. Let them fuel your fire. Use this emotional energy to build the life you want, rather than to tear yourself down. Is a radical shift, from needing others to validate you, to validating yourself with fierce, unwavering belief. This moment, the moment of acceptance, is your turning point. It's where you stop living for others and start living for yourself. You reclaim your power. You choose your path. You set your rules. You become the architect of your own destiny, no longer chained by the hope that someone else will care enough to lift you up. Know this: acceptance is not a defeat. It is the bravest act you can perform. It is the gateway to self-mastery, to freedom, to the kind of peace that no one else can give you but yourself. When you embrace this truth, you build a foundation strong enough to carry you through anything. You become unbreakable. And in that strength, the world begins to look different, because now you are the one who cares the most. And that is everything. When you stop depending on others to care for you, something remarkable happens. You discover a well of strength inside yourself that you may never have fully noticed before. It's a quiet power that has been there all along, buried beneath layers of doubt, fear, and longing. This strength isn't loud or flashy. It's steady, patient, and unwavering. It's the force that carries you through sleepless nights, through moments when the world feels cold and distant. It is your true source of resilience. Most people spend their lives searching for safety in others, friends, family, partners, hoping that these connections will shield them from pain. But the truth is, no one else's care can provide lasting security. Others are human too. They have limits, distractions, their own battles to fight. When you rely solely on external support, you set yourself up for heartbreak every time. But when you turn inward and tap into your own inner resources, you create a fortress that cannot be shaken by neglect or disappointment. This inner strength grows from small acts of self-trust. Every time you choose yourself over approval, every time you honor your feelings without seeking permission, you build a foundation that will hold you steady through storms. Psychology calls this resilience, and it is a skill, not a trait. You can develop it, nurture it, and grow it. It's like a muscle that becomes stronger the more you use it. The more you rely on your own strength, the more you realize that you are enough. You are not defined by the attention you get or the lack of it. Your value is not measured by how many people care or how loudly they show it. Your worth is inherent, embedded in your very existence. This realization is life-changing because it frees you from the exhausting game of seeking validation. You stop chasing approval and start creating your own sense of worth. Imagine what your life would feel like if you no longer needed anyone else to remind you of your importance. Imagine waking up every day knowing that you are capable of carrying your own burdens, of loving yourself fiercely, of facing whatever comes without crumbling. This is not a fantasy. This is the reality that awaits you when you embrace the truth that no one else's care is a guarantee. This doesn't mean you become isolated or indifferent to others. It means you become whole on your own. You develop a self-love that doesn't depend on compliments or attention. You learn to nurture yourself with kindness and patience. This self-reliance is the root of true freedom. It means you can stand tall even when the world feels cold because you carry your own warmth inside. This well of inner strength is a source of courage too. The courage to pursue your dreams, to speak your truth, to set boundaries, and to walk away from anything or anyone that drains your energy. It's the courage to be vulnerable without fear, because you know you are enough, with or without others' care. This courage is a gift you give yourself when you stop waiting for someone else to save you. You have everything you need within you to rise above the pain of neglect and indifference. When you accept no one cares in the way you once hoped, you don't fall into despair, you rise into strength. This inner strength becomes the foundation for your transformation. It is the light that guides you out of darkness and into a life shaped by your own hands, fueled by your own heart. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you believe. And in this truth lies the power to change everything. The moment you start trusting your own strength, you begin to rewrite your story, one where you are the hero, the protector, and the creator of your own destiny. This is your birthright. This is your revolution. This is where your new life begins. When you fully embrace the strength within yourself, something shifts. An invisible weight lifts from your shoulders. You realize you no longer need to lean on others for approval or love because you've learned to stand on your own. This isn't about isolation or shutting others out. It's about freedom. The freedom to be who you truly are, without fear of rejection. The freedom to chase your dreams without hesitation, because your worth no longer depends on anyone else's acceptance. This kind of freedom is rare and precious. It's a quiet rebellion against the endless cycle of dependency and disappointment. Imagine waking up each day knowing that no matter what happens outside, you have a source of unwavering support within yourself. This self-reliance creates an unbreakable foundation. It allows you to walk through life with your head held high, unshaken by the opinions or indifference of others. You become your own sanctuary, your own safe place. When others don't care, it no longer cuts as deeply, because you have already filled that space with your own care, your own compassion. Psychology teaches us that self-reliance is not just about survival, it's about thriving. When you stop depending on others to fill your emotional needs, you create space for authentic growth. You begin to set boundaries without guilt, to say no when something doesn't serve you, and to say yes to yourself with confidence. This is the heart of empowerment. It's the ability to choose your path, your mindset, and your reactions, regardless of outside circumstances. No longer are you at the mercy of who shows up or who doesn't. You are the one who shows up for yourself every single day. This self-reliance also unlocks a deeper kind of joy, not the fleeting happiness tied to external events, but a steady, calm satisfaction that comes from knowing you are enough. You stop seeking happiness outside yourself and instead cultivate it within. This inner joy is resilient. It doesn't fade with criticism or abandonment. It grows with every moment you choose to believe in your own worth. When you accept that no one cares the way you might wish, you're not left empty. You are given the chance to fill that emptiness with something more lasting, self-love. And self-love is not selfish or weak, it is the foundation of all strength. It is what allows you to move forward, to take risks, and to embrace vulnerability without fear. It teaches you that your value is inherent, not conditional. This journey towards self-reliance demands courage. It requires stepping into uncomfortable spaces, facing loneliness and resisting the pull to seek external validation. But each step you take is a step away from dependency and a step toward true freedom. The more you practice relying on yourself, the more your confidence grows. Your spirit becomes unshakable. Understand this. When you no longer expect care from others, you stop feeling powerless. You take back the reins of your life. You become the force driving your own destiny. And in this moment of self-reliance, you find a peace that no one else can give you but yourself. A peace rooted in knowing that no matter what, you are whole, you are strong, and you are enough. This is the life-changing power of self-reliance. It transforms fear into courage, loneliness into strength, and emptiness into fulfillment. When you stop waiting for others to care, you awaken to a new reality, the one where you are your own greatest ally, your own fiercest protector, and your own most unwavering source of love. And that is where everything truly begins. There is a fear that often holds us back, the fear of being vulnerable alone. It whispers that to stand without someone else's care is to be weak, exposed, and at risk of breaking. But the truth flips that fear on its head. Vulnerability, especially when faced alone, is the ultimate act of courage. It's not a sign of fragility, it is the birthplace of strength. When no one is watching, when no one is there to catch you, and you still choose to show up for yourself, that is real bravery. Psychological research reveals that vulnerability builds resilience. It pushes you to confront your deepest fears, your darkest thoughts, and your most painful emotions without hiding behind masks or distractions. When you dare to be vulnerable in your solitude, you learn who you truly are beneath the layers of expectation and need. You discover the raw, unfiltered self, the part of you that can endure anything and still rise. This is where authentic growth happens. It's messy, uncomfortable, and demanding, but it's also the path to transformation. Being vulnerable alone means you stop seeking safety in others' presence and instead create your own safe space within. You learn to soothe yourself, to hold your own pain with kindness, and to face your struggles head-on. This self-compassion is a radical act. It means that even when the world turns away, you do not. You become your own protector and healer. The loneliness that once felt like a prison begins to feel like freedom, a freedom to be exactly who you are without fear of judgment or abandonment. The courage to be vulnerable alone frees you from the need to perform for others, to hide your imperfections, or to wait for permission to exist fully. You stop shrinking to fit into the spaces others create for you. Instead, you expand into the space you claim for yourself, unapologetically and fiercely. This courage fuels every decision you make from this point forward. It empowers you to pursue your deepest desires, speak your truth boldly, and live authentically without the crutch of external validation. This kind of vulnerability demands radical honesty, not just with others but with yourself. It means looking at your fears, your doubts, and your wounds without flinching. You acknowledge them, not to be defeated by them, but to understand them and let them go. In this process, you reclaim your power. You transform pain into wisdom, isolation into strength, and fear into freedom. The journey is not easy. It requires confronting loneliness and resisting the urge to numb the discomfort. But each time you choose to be vulnerable alone, you reinforce a new pattern, one where your value is self-generated, not externally granted. You build an unshakable foundation of self-trust. You learn that you don't need others to be whole, you are already complete. This courage to be vulnerable alone is the gateway to deeper connection, not just with yourself, but with the world around you. When you stand firm in your authenticity, you attract relationships that respect your boundaries and honor your truth. You no longer settle for half-hearted care or conditional love. You create a life where your emotional safety is in your own hands, and where the fear of being alone no longer controls you. When you accept that no one cares the way you once wished, you open the door to this profound courage. The courage to face yourself without fear. The courage to be imperfect, to be raw, and to be beautifully human. This courage transforms loneliness into a powerful ally and solitude into a sacred space for growth. You are stronger than you realize. The strength to be vulnerable alone is not weakness. It is the most powerful form of self-love and self-respect. Embrace it. Let it carry you forward into a life where you no longer wait for others to care, because you care enough for yourself to never give up. This is your awakening. This is your liberation. This is your true power. When you begin to live with this fierce independence, a new kind of clarity emerges about who you are, what you need, and what you will no longer tolerate. The illusion that others' care will solve your problems fades away. replaced by the understanding that you are the architect of your own peace. This clarity strips away confusion and doubt, giving you a sharp focus that guides every choice you make. You stop wasting time and energy on people and situations that drain you. Instead, you channel your power toward what truly matters: your growth, your purpose, your dreams. This shift in clarity is more than just seeing things differently. It rewires your brain, strengthening neural pathways that support self-trust, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Science shows that when you accept responsibility for your own well-being, your brain releases chemicals that increase resilience and reduce anxiety. You become calmer, more centered, and better equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges. This is no coincidence. It's your mind adapting to the truth that you are your greatest source of support. With this clarity comes a deeper sense of boundaries, not as walls to keep others out, but as protections for your energy and your soul. You learn to say no without guilt and yes without fear. Boundaries become your way of honoring yourself, a way to guard the space you've fought so hard to claim. When no one else steps up to care for you, you step up for yourself in a way that demands respect from others and, most importantly, from yourself. Living with this clarity and these boundaries is liberating. It means you no longer bend or break to fit into the expectations of others. You no longer allow yourself to be diminished by neglect or indifference. Instead, you stand tall and strong in your own truth, unafraid to walk away from anything that does not serve your highest good. This is the essence of self-respect. It is the foundation of a life lived on your terms. When you stop relying on others to care, you also begin to see the world through a different lens. You notice who truly values and respects you and who doesn't. You become more selective with your time and attention, investing only in relationships that uplift and nurture you. This discernment is a powerful tool. It protects you from toxic dynamics and opens the door to authentic connections built on mutual care and respect. This process may feel uncomfortable at times. Letting go of old dependencies can stir up fear and uncertainty. But remember, discomfort is a sign of growth. It means you are shedding old patterns and stepping into a stronger, freer version of yourself. Every moment of discomfort is a stepping stone on your path to transformation. Know this: the clarity you gain when you accept that no one cares the way you might wish is a gift. It is a gift that allows you to live intentionally, to pursue your passions without hesitation, and to build a life rooted in self-love and authenticity. This clarity lights the way forward, cutting through confusion and doubt like a beacon in the dark. You hold the power to create a life where your worth is not measured by external care, but by your own unwavering belief in yourself. This power begins with acceptance and grows through clarity. It is the key to breaking free from the chains of expectation and disappointment, and stepping into the freedom of living fully on your own terms. Your life, your rules, your care, this is your truth now. Embrace it. Let the clarity guide you, protect you, and empower you, and watch as everything changes, not because others finally care, but because you finally care enough for yourself to rise beyond it all. When you finally step into the space where no one's care defines you, you unlock a profound sense of freedom, a freedom that can only come from absolute self-reliance. This freedom is not about isolation or detachment. It's about reclaiming your power to create, to heal, and to thrive on your own terms. It's the freedom to move through life without the heavy chains of expectation, without the crippling need for approval. This is where true transformation begins, when your worth is anchored not in others' attention, but in your own unwavering belief in yourself. This belief is a force that reshapes your reality. Neuroscience shows that what we focus on physically alters the wiring of our brains. When you focus on your own strength and resilience, you create new neural pathways that reinforce confidence and calm. You begin to see setbacks as temporary, challenges as opportunities, and loneliness as a space for growth rather than a punishment. This mindset is not just wishful thinking. It is a psychological shift grounded in science, one that rewires your brain for success and emotional stability. The absence of external care becomes a powerful motivator, pushing you to take full responsibility for your happiness and well-being. You no longer wait for someone to notice you, to validate your feelings, or to lift you up. Instead, you become your own champion, your own source of encouragement. This internal support system is infinitely more reliable than anything outside of you, because it's always there, steady and unwavering, regardless of circumstances. When you embrace this truth, your actions start to change. You stop spending time chasing people or situations that drain your energy. Instead, you invest in yourself, your goals, your health, your passions. This shift might feel uncomfortable at first because it challenges years of conditioned patterns, but the discomfort is a sign that you are breaking free from old dependencies and stepping into your authentic power. Every choice you make to prioritize yourself strengthens your resolve and deepens your self-respect. This internal shift also rewires your relationships. When you stop needing others to care for your emotional survival, you attract connections based on genuine, mutual respect and love. You no longer tolerate half-hearted attention or conditional affection. You become clear about what you deserve and refuse to settle for less. This clarity and confidence act as a powerful filter, bringing the right people closer and pushing toxic influences away. The power of self-care, born from acceptance and resilience, extends beyond the personal. It spills into every area of your life. Your work improves because you are motivated by passion rather than approval. Your creativity flourishes because you are not held back by fear of judgment. Your decisions become bolder because you trust yourself deeply. This transformation is comprehensive. It changes how you see yourself and how the world responds to you. The most profound change comes when you realize that the void left by others' indifference is not emptiness. It is a space waiting to be filled by your own love and purpose. This space is fertile ground for growth. It's where you plant the seeds of your dreams, watered by your courage and nurtured by your self-belief. This is not a lonely journey. It is a courageous one, full of potential and promise. Know that when you accept no one cares, you don't fall into despair. You rise into power. You become the author of your own story, writing chapters filled with resilience, clarity, and unshakable self-love. This is your moment to step into the life you were always meant to live, not dependent on the care of others, but fueled by your own unstoppable force. The path is yours, the power is yours, and everything changes because of it. When you stand fully in the truth that no one is obligated to care for you, a new kind of power emerges, a power that isn't loud or flashy, but deeply steady and unstoppable. This power comes from knowing that your happiness, your peace, your growth rests squarely in your own hands. You are no longer a passenger waiting for someone else to steer the wheel. You are the driver, the navigator, the one who charts the course regardless of storms or empty seats beside you. This shift is the turning point where you stop reacting to the world's indifference and start creating a life shaped by your own choices. The psychology of this shift is profound. When you accept responsibility for your emotional well-being, your brain adapts by strengthening pathways related to autonomy and self-regulation. This means you become more resilient to stress, less anxious in uncertainty, and more grounded when challenges arise. You no longer depend on external validation to feel stable, because your inner world has become a sanctuary, a place where you can always find calm and strength. This sanctuary is built through deliberate practice, through daily decisions to care for yourself first, and to honor your own needs above all else. This isn't about being cold or disconnected. It's about being real, honest with yourself about what you can control and what you can't. It means accepting that sometimes people will disappoint, sometimes love will be conditional, and sometimes support won't come. Instead of sinking into bitterness or despair, you transform these truths into fuel for your growth. You become fierce in your independence and gentle in your self-love. This balance is what creates deep, lasting peace. When no one cares in the way you once hoped, you discover a freedom that's impossible when you're dependent on others' attention or approval. You become free to explore who you are beneath all the noise, free to pursue your dreams without hesitation, free to build a life that feels authentic and true. This freedom brings clarity. It reveals what really matters to you, what lights you up, and what drains your energy. With this clarity, you make choices that align with your highest good, no longer swayed by the shifting tides of other people's feelings or expectations. The most powerful change is that you start to love yourself in ways that no one else ever could. You recognize that your value isn't tied to others' care. It is inherent, unshakable, and ever-present. This self-love isn't superficial or fleeting. It's deep and transformative, rooted in acceptance and compassion for all parts of yourself, your flaws, your wounds, your strengths, and your dreams. This love becomes the foundation on which you build your life. It becomes your shield in moments of doubt and your light in times of darkness. This transformation ignites action. When you truly believe in your own worth and strength, you no longer hesitate. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission or validation. You begin to take bold steps toward your goals, to speak your truth unapologetically, and to create the life you want with courage and determination. This momentum feeds itself, each action building confidence, each victory reinforcing your independence. Remember, the absence of care from others is not a void to be feared. It is a space for you to fill with your own power and purpose. It is a call to awaken your deepest courage and to step fully into your own light. This is where transformation lives, in the space between what you hoped for and what you decide to create for yourself. You are not powerless. You are not alone. You are the architect of your own destiny, and the moment you accept no one cares, you unlock a freedom that changes everything. This freedom is yours to claim. This power is yours to wield, and from here, your life will never be the same. As you continue to embrace this truth, that no one owes you their care, you begin to see the incredible strength that has been inside you all along. This strength doesn't come from external sources. It comes from the deep well within you, the part of yourself that refuses to be defined by neglect or indifference. This strength is quiet, but unbreakable. It's the power to keep going when the world feels cold, the courage to stand tall when no one is cheering, and the resilience to rise even when you feel invisible. This inner strength is not some distant ideal, it is already yours. It is in every breath you take, in every moment you choose to show up for yourself, even when it feels like no one else will. Science tells us that resilience, the ability to recover from hardship, is a skill that can be cultivated. When you accept that others may not care the way you want them to, you stop wasting energy trying to control what you cannot. Instead, you invest that energy in building your own emotional muscles. This deliberate choice rewires your brain, making you stronger and more adaptable with every challenge you face. In this place of strength, fear loses its grip. You begin to understand that fear often masquerades as a need for care and attention. It tells you that without someone else's validation, you won't survive or be worthy. But this is a lie born from dependency. When you face that fear head-on without flinching, you disarm it. You prove to yourself that you can survive and thrive on your own terms. The more you do this, the smaller fear becomes, until it no longer controls your decisions or your happiness. With this newfound courage, you start to rewrite your story. The narrative that once kept you trapped in disappointment and longing shifts into one of empowerment and self-love. You stop waiting for others to fill the void and begin to fill it with your own light. This shift is a turning point. It moves you from victim to victor, from passive to proactive. It opens doors that were previously invisible, doors leading to opportunities, growth, and joy that depend solely on your willingness to step through them. This transformation also deepens your connection with yourself. When no one else cares, you learn to care deeply for your own heart. You listen more closely to your needs, your desires, and your boundaries. You treat yourself with kindness and respect, not because you need to earn it, but because you recognize your inherent worth. This self-care becomes a sacred practice, a daily act of honoring the life force within you that refuses to be ignored. The power of self-care rooted in acceptance and strength extends beyond your own experience. It ripples outward, affecting how you interact with the world. You become a beacon of authenticity, drawing people in with your genuine presence. Your energy shifts from seeking approval to radiating confidence. Others sense the difference. They are drawn not because you need them, but because you stand firmly in your own power, inviting them to meet you there if they choose. This is the ultimate freedom, to live without the chains of dependence on others' care, to stand in your own strength, and to create a life that honors your truth. It's a freedom that reshapes everything, from your mindset to your relationships, from your daily choices to your biggest dreams. This freedom is not given, it is claimed. It is born when you finally accept that no one cares the way you might wish, and decide that your care for yourself is enough. You are stronger than you realize. You are more capable than you believe. And the moment you fully own this truth, you become unstoppable. This is your power. This is your liberation. And everything changes because of it.